Hey, Karita Griffith Walker here, talking to tap dance teachers all about clean tap dance routines. All right, we're going to focus on one topic today, but I realize that this is kind of a bigger topic. So I'm going to actually do a free live online workshop about this in the next few days. You can learn more about it by going to karitagriffith.com/clean. That's karitagriffith.com/clean to learn more about the Clean Tap Routine workshop, how to really develop head turning routines, bring out the confidence in your students and get rid of the endless mind numbing drilling. Okay. Doesn't have to be that way, right? So today we're just going to talk about one little topic, and it's a tasty little topic. And that topic is popcorn. Popcorn. Yes, popcorn. What does popcorn have to do with tap dance routines and the cleanliness of your tap dance routines? It is a silly notion, but I want you to consider the sound of popcorn being made, right? So whether it is in the microwave or you kick it old school and you do it on the stove. Actually, I had a roommate who bought a pot just for popcorn making, and it's the only thing we used the pot for back in the day. And it made the best popcorn right on the stove. But the sound of popcorn belongs in your kitchen, but it does not belong in your tap class routines, in anything you're doing in your tap classes, right? Right now, we're talking about routines, so let's focus on that, right? So, that lovely sound of popcorn being made, you're like, oh, yeah, does not belong. That sound does not belong in your tap classes, right? So if you've got students that are landing their feet, striking the floor at slightly different times, right? That's that popcorn sound I'm talking about. And that's what I want us to be eliminating from our tap dance routines. Yes, we cannot have popcorn sounds. In a previous session, when I'm talking about clean tap routines, I talked about the importance of prioritizing the rhythm and the musicality. And this goes along with that topic. Right. So I have worked with so many tap dance teachers inside of the Tap Teachers Lounge, my online tap teacher training program, and outside of that. And it's amazing how many teachers started to realize that they were settling a little bit, just settling a little bit. And so I want to caution you against that and encourage you on. And there's so many important reasons for this. One is that the sound of popcorn on stage tunes your audience out, right? Because it's not music being created, it's sounds. It might even be noise coming from the stage, but it's not music. It's not music, right? You don't like hear the popcorn popping and start dancing to it, right? It's because it's not musical, right? So if that's what's happening on stage, then you can lose your audience, and your audience misses out on the magic that is tap dance. And that can also happen to your students, right? They're missing out on that feeling of when students get their routine kind of cleaned up and they kind of look around at each other like, we sound good. Like, I love when my students start to feel themselves and feel some confidence around what they're doing as a group. Yeah. And we can give them that, but we can't settle for the popcorn. Even as a student, think back to your days as a student, y'all, and being in a tap routine that was just like in rough shape, right? You ever been in a tap routine that was rough shape and you're like the student, and maybe sometimes the teacher moved on from a section that you're like, should we really be moving on from this section? Because we don't feel like it's ready. Like, you're in your head thinking that, of course, like, you would never say that to your teacher and all that, but you're in your head going, I don't feel like this is ready, right? So students often know, like, when it's not quite right and they're in there, they're working hard for you, but it's meh, right? And it feels meh to them. And we don't want our students feeling meh about tap dance, right? And certainly not about their routine. It's their end of the year product. We want them finishing the season on the highest note possible, especially in a season like this where we've been through so much, right? So we want them to end that season on a high note, get off stage and be like, yeah, okay. At the end of running the routine and rehearsal, be like, okay, that was better. Yeah. Oh, that was great. Oh, that was way better. Right. We want them to be feeling that progress and getting to higher and higher heights. So they have that sense of achievement and confidence inside your class and on stage doing your tap routine. Right. And just another reason, to keep the tap routines clean is because, hey, it's like we're the dance teacher, right? It's our reputation on the line, and it's not everything, like how our tap routines turn out. It's not everything, but it's not also a small thing either. Like we want to make sure that we feel good about what we are putting up on stage and how we're bringing our students up to stage, that we're setting them up to succeed, and that when you look at our body of work, that there's consistent quality, right? In terms of who we are as dance teachers. And we want to feel like we're doing well at our job, and we want the people around us to respect our work, right? And so we want it to be at the highest level possible so that we're appreciated for our work. We are paid, hello, paid well for our work, all of the different things. And having clean, really high quality tap routines on stage can help to accomplish that, even just for us, thinking about ourselves as dance educators and, our sense of accomplishment and also getting paid. Um, the challenge is, thinking about it as educators and knowing that we command the space, right? We set the tone of what's important, what we're going to focus on. We set the agenda. We decide when we move on and when we don't. Right. So when we're cleaning our routines, what I have found, and I said this before, is that sometimes teachers have worked with, kind of set the ceiling a little low for their students and how clean a piece could be. Right. So if you have found yourself doing that, and I understand why this year of all years, anybody would feel that way. But we still want to encourage as much growth as possible, even, in challenging circumstances. But even before that, I've been working with tap teachers in my training program since 2018, and people saying, gosh, like I think I set the ceiling a little low for them. I set the bar a little low, and I didn't realize how clean they could be. Right. And so that can be like the popcorn issue. It could even be, just to go a step lower, like a lack of rhythmic clarity. Like you have students that kind of are like sliding back and forth between straight eighth notes and swing eighth notes all the time. And you can't, like, so sometimes they're like, and one, and two, and three, and four, one, a two, a three, a four. And you're like, which one is it? Right? In the same piece of choreography, in the same section, they kind of swing it a little bit, and then sometimes it's straight time a little bit. And you're like, what's happening? Right? And so sometimes, and if they do it all together, we're like, well, they're all together, right? But even that's something that, in terms of musical education, rhythmic education, we want to steer them away from, obviously, right? That's kind of an aside, and that's a kind of a deeper topic. But we want to make sure that we aren't setting that ceiling low and then demonstrating that and putting that lower ceiling up on stage, right? Because so many people have so many like miscellaneous ideas about tap of the different styles, right? About how good it can be. Is it really a showstopper? Is it for everybody and whatever? And if we're putting up stuff on stage that's like, nah, then it can spread that feeling of man, right? About the dance. And so we want to make sure that we're setting a ceiling up of like, yes, tap is great. Look at it and listen to it and feel how great it is on stage. Listen to that precision, look at it and like appreciate it, and having people lean into the magic that is tap dance, having our students get excited about it. Those are things that we can be bringing out of our students if we aren't setting the bar lower, right? What some of my early years teaching, I remember I made a lot of mistakes with my students. I did my very best. I worked really hard in my classes. I used to bring like 3 or 4 shirts to class because I was literally sweating every level of class. I was like sweating through my shirts, and like I was like working hard, and my students were okay, right? And they'd get to the recital, and I really hadn't set them up that well, just still kind of figuring things out as a teacher and looking at a routine. And I remember thinking to myself, because like their arms were also like, not where I told them to be, and spacing, the lines aren't straight, the kids look lost. And I was like, I'm like, not only can tap dance like look bad. Like it can also kind of like sound bad. Like it's this double whammy when you don't get it right. And I remember kind of having that sinking feeling, and there were times when I would think, well, the kids aren't practicing enough. They just, it's like their work ethic is like, and kind of like go the like kids today route in your head. And I'm not saying that that's not true, because there are some kids who genuinely don't practice, right? And you really have to like navigate that. Um, but interestingly, so at this particular studio, I've worked at a lot. There was a new teacher teaching a different style at the studio who worked with the exact same kids as me, and I looked into their class and it was like, this new teacher's all the rage. This new teacher is getting so much out of the students. And I remember the studio owner kept saying over and over again, this choreographer gets more out of my students than anybody. This teacher gets more out of my students than anybody. And like these different people that she would bring in and, pay top dollar to that could get the most out of her students. And so I'm like trying to peek my head into those studios to figure out what they're doing that I'm not. And I look in and I see some of the same students. Actually, one of the classes was the exact same class, almost the exact same roster. And they are completely different in the class. Completely different in the class. The teacher is not working nearly as hard as I was changing shirts between classes. The teacher's sitting in a chair, the teacher's like talking, and these students are focused. They're not, like nobody's like rolling on the floor laughing and it's like fun show, but they're locked in. They're locked in, and this teacher is getting way more out of those same students than I was. I could have easily told myself they just don't like tap. Tap just isn't popular. Like I could have told myself that. But I knew that that probably meant that I could maybe get more out of the students too. And so if I step my game up, how much more could I get out of those same students? They're willing to work. Look at them work over there, right? So maybe I can get more out of them. Maybe I can do that. And this is where I feel, I reminded myself that's like, hey, I'm the teacher here. Like, who's the one commanding the space? Like, if they're able to command the space and do that, then maybe I could do the same. And so over time, I became really determined to teach with more ease, with more effectiveness, with more confidence, to get more and more out of my students, regardless of who the natural talent in the room was, right? There's always like a natural talent here or there. But on average, can I get the average student to grow? Can I get the struggling student to grow? And if I'm doing that, then I feel like I'm doing my job. Then I feel like I'm earning my check. Then I feel like I'm being the best educator that I am. If you look up the root of the word educator, it's educe and it means to bring forth, right? So it's like, what am I bringing out of them? Right. And so when you're cleaning your tap routines, I just want to encourage you the same way that I've talked to my like younger self as a dance teacher, like that I could change my belief about what was possible in these students, right? That they could achieve more, right? And that I could use the skills I already had, the qualities I already had as a teacher in more effective ways. And I could continue to grow my skill sets. I could keep getting better as an educator. I was a good tap dancer. That's one thing, right? But being a better educator, being a better choreographer, that's a different ball of wax. And that's taken, years, for me to get there. And then that's something that I turn around and share with other people, other tap dance teachers, so they can do the same. So this is just like my soapbox moment to encourage you to continue to set your sights high, even in these rough circumstances. If you're on Zoom or if you're masked up and they can barely hear what you're saying, that you keep lifting the bar for them so that your students feel themselves growing, you feel them growing, and that you're able to put something on stage that you are proud of. Right? That your students are proud of. It's just, oh, it's so hard when you put up routines that you're like, and like you're watching it and you're like, "Oh, there's that one section." It's like, "Oh, that one section." You like cringe through it and hope nobody noticed it. But everybody's watching it, everybody's listening to it, right? Don't want to settle for popcorn. Keep reaching. We're reaching the end of the season. You might be close to the end of the a week away, 2 weeks away. Like, take the time in your sessions, in your tap classes to keep raising the bar, especially when it comes to the sounds, right? We don't want to settle for the sound of delicious popcorn being made. I'm about to tear this up when I take this video off. We don't want to settle for popcorn sounds in our classes. Keep that in the kitchen, in the microwave, or in your pot, okay? In class, we want unison dancing to the music. We want people feeling musicality from the stage, not miscellaneous sounds a poppin', right? We want to show people the brilliance that is tap dance. We want our students to feel that. We want our audiences to believe that and feel that. And so that means that we have to continue to keep the bar as high as we possibly can. Keep reaching right? And then there's a little bit more fulfillment. And I think that we as dance teachers need that. We're burnt out, we're tired, like, and so that we look at the end of the year and go, yeah, we look at them on stage and we go, yeah, yes, we're getting through it. Congratulations for getting through it. Like that alone is definitely an achievement. I don't want to understate that. I just want to add that why not aim for that great feeling at the end of the year that we can have, right? So here's to it. Go get yourself some popcorn to eat, but none in your classes, and keep reaching for strong tap dance routines. If you are interested in hearing more, I have a lot more to say about clean tap dance routines. And if you are looking for some reliable input and not, advice from questionable sources, whatever, it's like that stuff is out there. Then join this workshop. We are going to be talking about a lot of strategy inside of your tap class rehearsal times. What are you doing in the cleaning sessions that's working? Surprising things that a lot of experienced teachers do that does not work. It does not help to clean your tap dance routines. There's a lot of things that are just kind of old school habits and things that just aren't working, right? And you see it on stage dance competitions. I used to judge full time. I see it in coaching, and working it, around and seeing different dance studios, even locally where I am. I work with tap dance teachers online, and I see other, students around the world, and I see some of these same struggles happening over and over again. So if you want to hear about how you can dodge some of those mistakes and get the inside scoop on how you can get more cleaning done in less time without the painstaking, painful drilling, then I invite you to join this workshop coming up this week. You can do that by going to karitagriffith.com/clean. That is karitagriffith.com/clean to get your spot. This is a limited time workshop happening live, and I hope to see you there. Take care.